What's up, guys? It's Region here. So we're gonna go over this guy. He's already been out for like a day or two, so I'm kind of late. I'm gonna try to make this one short because of that. Let's get down to it. The good thing is that now we kind of know how his trainer move works, and I gotta say it's better than I think people thought it would be. I mean, it applies the take next all move effect to the user in addition to raising the attack and special attack of all allied sync pairs by 2 stat ranks. So I was looking at gameplay of him, and basically what this does is he takes the damage of the enemy, even the sync moves of an enemy, so for everyone. So if a sync move was gonna hit all 3 of your allies, if you use this right before the sync move happens, he will take the damage for everyone, which is actually pretty nice. So it's nice. It's better than I think people probably thought. Yeah, no. Moving on from that though, I understand the kit a lot more now that I've seen gameplay and now that I've basically read it a ton of times. So you basically just spam stockpile, and each time you use it, you and your allies gain defense and special defense buffs, 3 stat ranks every time you do it. So it only takes 2 stockpiles to get everyone to +6. And then once you're at +6, you can use Gorging Crunch, or you can also use Guzzling Swallow. Guzzling Swallow is a healing move, and actually for this one you don't need to use Stockpile 2 times. You only need to use it once. So it's pretty nice. But for Gorging Crunch, you have to use it quote-unquote like 2 times, because when the user's defense and special defense, you want the defenses to be maxed, basically. So you don't have to use Stockpile twice, actually, but unless you bring other defensive buffs, which you probably won't be, more than likely, you just use Stockpile twice, and then you'll be able to activate Gorging Crunch. And I can't really say whether or not he's actually going to be dealing good damage with this move. I'm not even going to comment on it. I would say look at gameplay of that first and kind of decide for yourself. It seems like it could do good damage, but I can't make any guarantees because his attack is 396, so just keep that in mind. I would say, though, that if you are going to attack with Gorging Crunch, try to wait. If you are going to sync with him first, wait until after you sync so you can get Dark Zone. The Dark Zone multiplier as well. So basically don't do it before first sync, and who knows, maybe he actually, I'm sure on some stages he will actually do more damage than he would think for a quote-unquote support. But I think he is technically a support, and then you get field for the EX rule. So I'm trying to basically just go over his 1 out of 5 kit first, but I'll get into it later, but I do think this guy's worth at least 2 out of 5ing. But anytime that you use a buddy move, you also restore the trainer move NP, which is actually kind of nice because it means that you can use Endless Ambition more than once, and you can take like, thinking about it that way, that's actually pretty sick. He can essentially take the sync new kits for everyone from the enemy. So not just the first sync, but also second sync. He can take the damage for everyone. Are we gonna see like power creep with his mechanic of buffing sync move up? Probably not, because he wasn't the one that introduced it. He is the first one, I think, that does it like reliably and consistently. But obviously we got it with like Steven and Metagross, and then Ingo or Emmett got it as well. And they got a really nice version of it too, because they also guarantee crit on sync, as well as like something else as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think over time with the unit, we might get like more different types of units that can buff the sync move with the sync move of next effect. That's something to keep in mind. But the thing with Giovanni is he doesn't just do that. He has really good roll compression too, with the defense buffs and the crit, like just straight up +3 crit. And if you 2 out of 5 him, you get +4. You can potentially get +4 attack and special attack, like right off the bat, by getting Team Fierce Entry, Team Grand Entry, and then using the buddy move like immediately. This is going more so based off of how a certain player plays. But the potential is still there to do all of this stuff, to max out defenses, basically max out offenses with crit, become an insane tank probably the best tank if you consider the take next all move effect. When you consider that, I mean, does that make him the best tank? Probably. But another thing to consider is that other units are probably going to also get this take next all move effect in the future, and they might do it better than him. Like, he might not be introducing the sync move up next effect, but he will be introducing that. And usually we get units later on that can do that better. So that's something to keep in mind. But even with saying that, he's just great. Like, that's not even what makes the kit good. They didn't even have to include that, and I think this kit still would have been great. He still would have been like a good master fare. So, alright, so downsides, honestly, I can't really, there's only two downsides that I can think of with this unit. One being that he is a little slow, especially if he's not invested. Obviously, you would want him to be EX'd and have his EX roll, but he does have a base 239 speed, so we kind of do have to consider that. And then his initial move, or his main move, stockpile, it consumes 2 gauges. So if you do max invest him, his speed goes up to 300, but I don't think that's like super amazing. And then he also doesn't buff speed. So if you don't have him 2 out of 5, at least, you will definitely run into gauge issues occasionally. So if you keep him at 1 out of 5 and you try to use him, you might be tempted in the future to 2 out of 5 and 3 out of 5 him, which I do think that is absolutely worth going for. But for the sake of just judging the kit at 1 out of 5, I do have to kind of list that. The second thing, I don't really think this is like too bad, but it is, again, something to consider. Holy crap. I think this is the first time that I'm really looking at the HP. 1260. That's nuts. Don't some of the best tanks in the game have like only like 800? Let's get like Steven. Oh my good god. 760 HP. This man has over 1,000 HP. I don't think anyone else has even come close to that. This it doesn't counteract my point, but I will say, what I was going to say is that after you use his his Gorging Crunch, he's going to have no defenses because you lose all of them after you use it. But with 1260 HP, 348 defenses, I don't really think he's going to have that issue of just dying immediately after using his buddy move and having no defenses for like that one turn. It could happen in theory, but I think with that much HP, I don't really think you have a lot to worry about. But that, if I were being nitpicky, that's kind of what I have to say about him. Okay, so last thing is the grid. Honestly, I'll make this kind of short because his grid is great. I don't think, yeah. I mean, his 4 out of 5, I wouldn't recommend it because debut Dark Zone is like whatever. Like I said in my last video, most of the damage is going to come after sync anyways. You're not really going to be doing crazy damage right out the gate, but you could, but I don't recommend it. His 5 out of 5, this is really for people that just love the unit. Like if you love the unit or Giovanni or both, Guzzlord, yeah, this is going to make him pretty crazy. I don't want to say it power creeps Rosa, but it kind of does if you really think about it, because this is exactly what Rosa does. Obviously, Rosa still has stuff that Giovanni can't do that she can, but I feel like the best part of her kit is this that he gets at 5 out of 5, so that is something to consider. But there's always going to be a better unit in the future. I wouldn't get him just to get this, because again, not only does Rosa have it, but he's not going to be the only one. These two are not going to be the only units that get something like this in the future, so consider that when you're thinking about investing all your resources into 5 out of 5ing a Master Fair. I think I like this unit a lot because 2 out of 5 is really great. Use the trainer move, you get move gauge acceleration, which helps his biggest flaw, which is the gauges for sure. You get stockpile, move gauge refresh down here. Team sync regen as well for additional healing. Team fierce entry to help buff the offensive stats of units. Yeah. I mean, oh, and then of course, Team Fast Track 9. I mean, obviously I'm out of I'm out of great amount of energy, but realistically you don't need all of the stuff. You compromise, and I would say Team Fast Track 9 is super nice for this unit, as well as like you can pick this up too if you were pick up T move, allied field, move gauge up 9. If you really need speed buffs, if you get like those two things, you shouldn't really have issues with gauges. But yeah, then it's 3 out of 5. Guarded entry 3. I don't really think you need that. I guess you would only, I mean, no, you don't really. The only reason that you would need guarded entry 3 is if you wanted to like heal immediately. Like I guess in Champion Stadium, if you were using half HP, that one that takes like 200 points, you could definitely use it for that. But he racks up his defenses really well, really quickly already by 3 each time you use stockpile. I don't really think you need that. Endurance is nice for tanking, of course. Vigilance, yes, but no. The stockpile note on the bottom is nice. I will put some attention into this. This is probably the main reason that you would get 3 out of 5, for me at least. If I do 3 out of 5 him, this would be the main reason I get it. If this wasn't in the kit, the grid, I probably wouldn't consider it. But with this, it just racks up the sync move. The sync move up multipliers a lot faster, so you don't. This basically makes it so that you don't even have to sync with him. Even without this grid, you don't really need to sync with him first at all, actually. But it does get you, or whoever is attacking, to +9 sync move boost. Sync move up next. So before first sync, because it goes by 3. So if he just used stockpile 3 times in the first 3 turns that he has before sync, you basically have the max buffs that you can get. So I will say that is pretty nice. I think this combined with everything else is great. The only issue with the 3 out of 5 is that besides this, I don't really think you need anything else. Like everything else is kind of unnecessary, because 2 out of 5 can kind of mitigate everything else that he struggles with. And then this grid, though, unfortunately, is pretty nice, because again, it'll make it so that you don't actually have to sync with him for more quick battles, or yeah, just like quick battles and rally and stuff. Another thing to consider, though, is that if you are gonna sync first with Giovanni, you don't need this grid tile, because more often than not, even without it, you'll get your main damage dealer 2 +9 by the time he even syncs, or they even sync. So this node is only really good, I guess, in theory, if you wanted to have Giovanni's new kit really hard on first sync, or if you want your main damage dealer's sync nuke to hit really hard again on first sync without actually having to sync with Giovanni first. Alright, so basically the main question is, should you pull? I know that people always say that things are bait and all that, but man, this is a pretty good unit. Honestly, I feel like he is as good of a unit that you're going to pull for than anyone. Because the thing is, I know that anniversary is soon, but a lot of times we don't even get like supports, like really good supports for the anniversary. Like last anniversary for last year, we didn't even get any crazy support. We just got, I believe it was Silver and Jita. I think that's her name. If I got her name wrong, I'm sorry. But it was just them two, and they were damage dealers. So we're not even guaranteed to get like a really good support. Obviously we can, but I think even if we do, Giovanni, this guy is still crazy. He's crazy. So I do recommend, I think that you guys, I'm going to pull for him for sure. I'm doing dailies on him because my gems aren't insanely hot right now. But I am doing dailies, but I will definitely pull on him even if I don't get him by the last day. I'm not going to lie, I do recommend you guys pull, because there's just so much he can do. He can buff old units that like lack a strong sync nuke. He can just give them that power, that damage that they're missing, in addition to just being a defensive tank and offensive support. He just does everything, really. So yeah, and then I do recommend, You don't have to 2 out of 5 him immediately, but I do recommend at least 2 out of 5ing him because it'll make him much more comfortable to use. And I think 3 out of 5 really just depends on if you want the other stuff or if you really want to get that sync move up next. If you want to get like your attackers to +9 by like the first sync. And if you don't really care about that, it's not really a big deal because even without it, you can get it to +6. Assuming that you're keeping up with like the sync cycle properly. If you wanted to, you could get it to 8 though. You could just do it one more time if you wanted to nuke right before first sync without this grid. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me, guys. I'm going to try to keep it short, but if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I guess like and subscribe and all that to support the channel. And yeah, Happy New Year, everyone.